everyone to another episode of this awesome podcast. My name is Priya.
And my name is Sofia.
We are so happy and excited to talk to you today because we tried something super cool, and I mean that quite literally.
Oh no. Let's start over. So this was our first joint activity for the podcast. We made a day of it. We got some really expensive sandwiches afterward, and we kind of regretted it. But this episode is about float and cryo.
Yeah, so we did.
So what are we talking about? So a cryogenic treatment is basically when you go into a giant refrigerator with a window on it so they can check on you to see if you're freezing to death. And they put you under very, very cold conditions for 3 minutes.
Yeah, so they gave you a towel wrap.
A towel wrap. You gotta wear some gloves, some really funky slippers and socks.
And a face mask.
And a face mask. It's like a buff. You cover your ears, mouth and nose. And you can't wear any metal because that's very dangerous in that sort of environment. Can you imagine?
Oh.
Imagine your bra just stuck to your skin.
Oh, ow. My bra's already so uncomfortable. That would just make it even worse.
And then the float experience right after that is a sensory deprivation tank, which is a pod-looking, spaceship-looking thing.
Yeah, it's if you imagine what aliens live in, that's what it is.
Yes, and then it's filled with salinated water, so you just float. And you close that pod, you can turn the lights off, and you're just basically...
Floating,
cutting everything off. Cut off from society for an hour. Yeah.
So we went to Reboot Spa in the Mission. I believe it was on Valencia.
It was on Valencia.
Awesome. Thank you. And we had a really, really amazing time trying both things. So when we got there, we did cryotherapy first because you're not allowed to be wet
that's what she said.
All.
Sorry, I'm so... I don't know why I can't be mature and grow up and, read the Financial Times every morning, but...
First of all, ew.
I know that's my benchmark for adulthood.
Well, then I will never be an adult. I'm not going to read the Financial Times unless... No, I'm never going to do it. I could never see that situation happening.
Okay, so you can't be wet during the cryo treatment because you'll basically freeze to death.
Yeah.
So don't come in from swimming or the rain.
Or the gym, no sweat or anything like that.
No.
So they put you in all the gear that we mentioned before, and you go into this, it's a upright tank.
Yeah, it's basically a giant refrigerator.
Yeah, it's like an ice box. And what was really cool about this place was that they have a stereo music system hooked up into the chamber itself. So before you go in, they let you pick a song so you can jam out while you're freezing to death.
Yeah, and it kind of distracts you from the sensation.
Yeah, which was
freezing to death.
Totally awesome. What song did you choose?
I chose Raise Hell by Dorothy.
Yeah,
which is exactly 3 minutes long, and that's how long you're in there for. And the temperature we chose was called Pro because we're hardcore like that.
Yeah, there was beginner, intermediate, and then pro, and we went for the gold.
It's negative 200 degrees.
Negative 200 degrees for those of you in the back. That's, AKA super fucking cold. And it's not it's just super cold. It's cold air is being pushed at you. So it feels... Well, it felt a lot colder than cold. It was fucking freezing.
Yeah, and you have to turn around so different parts of you are hit by
frozen
the vapor.
Yeah.
And it's I just felt like a rotisserie chicken where you just have to
But instead of being steamy and toasty and juicy, you were dry and cold. So when I went in, I chose the song The Man by The Killers, and it's super disco funky, and I was dancing to create warmth. But the thing is, so Sofia could see me and I could see her.
Yeah, there is a window, which you could open to make it a little less cold, but we wanted to really have the experience.
Yeah, exactly. And once, like, the window and the door closes, for the first couple seconds, you can kind of see the other person, but then there's so much, like, icy vapor and, like, cold air swirling around that you really just, like, lose sight of them, even though they're only, like, a foot or two away. It was unreal. How did you feel, like, when you were in it? Did you have any weird, like, phobias or fears or, like, thoughts? Or
No
was
phobias.
It, like, peaceful?
And it's notable that you can open it from the inside. So if you're claustrophobic at all, like, just be comforted by that thought.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So you can push it open from the inside and you're not going to get stuck. And I'm trying to make a Star Wars joke, but I'm not, like, into it. So just, you can. You're not going to be that guy who's, like, frozen in whatever material that is.
Yeah.
So I felt like 3 minutes was just enough. Like, if it was 3 minutes and 1 second, I would have been screaming. But, like, once that 3 minute hit, like, and the door opened, and the sensation I had was, like, tingling. Like, the sensation was slowly coming back to your body. Mm-hmm. And it's like going, like, having a cold shower and then jumping into a hot tub. It's like that tingly,
like, feeling on the top of your skin.
Yeah, that sensation of, like, your
the blood rushing back.
Yeah, the blood vessels opening up and the blood vessels running back. It's like, I don't know. I just love it. I love that feeling. Yeah.
I remember when Sofia came out, she was like, "Ooh, I'm so tingly," and I was like, "Oh shit, I can't wait to be tingly." And so I hopped right in after she did, and while I was in there, it was actually quite peaceful.
Really?
Yeah, I really liked it because it's just like white, like fog. Yeah. And it's very cold, and you can hear the music and it's bumping. But at the same time, you just feel like a solitude. It was really, really nice. But I totally agree with you in that, like, 3 minutes at negative 200 fucking degrees was plenty of time. I maybe could have lasted, like, 10 more seconds, but after that, I would have been beating down the fucking door.
Somebody is talking a big game now that she's warm.
Yeah. Well, now that my toes are toasty. Yeah. And
somebody chose, like, you can see what everybody else chose as their song, and somebody chose Hans Zimmer, which I thought was pretty genius. Just like that, while you're freezing to death. But I feel like that's too suspenseful. I needed something to distract me and, like, I don't know, yell at me while this is happening so I can get pumped up.
Although it could be awfully cinematic if you
love it.
Yeah, like the right.
Just be dramatic
music.
And kind of like bang against the window and pretend that you're dying. You're like, tell my mother I loved her.
Tell my sister she was fine.
You can recreate the Titanic scene.
Yeah. When I got out, I did not feel like tingly at all. I just felt like there was like a thin layer of real, like, super chill all over, and then it just slowly faded away. So I think that means I have to try it again. I am honestly, like, super in love with cryotherapy. Like, if I could, I would go all the fucking time. And I actually was like, I was Googling up a storm, or blizzard, because it's cold.
I know what it means.
Oh, so you just didn't laugh?
Right.
Well, I hope at least one of you listeners laughed. And the best way to get all that you can out of cryotherapy is to go 5 to 10 times, 1 to 2 days apart. And then after that's completed, you can do it once a week or once every 2 weeks to just, like, maintain the benefits.
Yeah. Aside from being just cool, like a cool experience, you can tell people negative 200 for 3 minutes and get those Instagram points. It's also great for athletes, like great for recovery. Instead of going into a cold tub, you can go into a cryo, 3 minutes of your day.
It's got a ton of, like, anti-inflammatory benefits. It's also really good for, like, boosting your metabolism and reducing, like, fine lines and wrinkles. And it's just all around awesome. And you don't even have to do anything. You literally just stand there.
You just stand there.
Yeah. It is the easiest way to, like, boost your self-care. I freaking loved it. Would you do it again?
The float was actually my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so What did you like so much about the float?
Okay, so the float, I wasn't a scaredy cat like Priya. So when you close the chamber thingy, you can have it completely dark.
Okay, so the chamber is like maybe 5 feet tall
Yes.
and like 10 feet long.
So it's, you can definitely fit in it.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
Laying down, like full out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because they had like one light inside and it would like change colors. It would go like from red to green to blue to like purpley whatever.
But you can also turn it off.
Yeah.
So when you close the chamber thingy, when you turn it off, our room, I think it was like a motion sensitive light. Mm-hmm. So the light from the room would like get in through the cracks of the chamber, but after a while, since there was nobody moving, it just completely turned off.
Yeah.
And when I say sensory deprivation, like they also give you earplugs.
Yeah.
It's sensory deprivation. And you're just floating there. And because it was dark, I had the strangest sensation of like floating in space.
Really?
Yeah, because like the way your body processes motion is like comparing the thing in motion to something still. Like that's the only way your body can tell that something's moving.
Yeah.
But because it was completely dark, like I think my brain was just making up like where I was, and I felt like I was floating in space and moving slowly towards something.
I had a similar sensation.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like something less cooler than space.
Yeah.
It was just like I felt like. Especially because it was like dark in the chamber for most of my time, which I think I fell asleep and then I woke up and it was dark and then I got scared.
But you're like a baby that like
know.
woke up and cried for its parents. Like, what is going on?
But instead of like crying for my mom, I just like slammed the side of the pod until I got the green light to click on.
Yeah, and the pod is also openable from the inside, so
yeah,
don't
there's
panic.
Like a little handle and you just need to like push up on it.
Yeah, I wanted
That's
the full experience.
Push up on it. But yeah, my sensation was more like I was like floating in like a lazy river float on like a really wide river.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a sense of direction.
Exactly.
It was just, like,
That's
floating down a river.
Yeah, I think your body is just trying to figure out what it is, and it's giving you like cues for something you've experienced before, but it's like nothing you've experienced before.
So you've been to space before?
I think that's what my brain thinks being in space is like.
I love it.
Yeah, and it would only be broken up by like me moving into the walls of the pod, and then my brain would be like, "Oh, you're in something."
So basically, you're an honorary like space cadet, space girl.
Yeah, I think so.
Should we call NASA?
I think NASA will call me.
Oh shit! I'm loving this confidence.
So, what were you thinking about during your? And that's an hour in there.
Yeah, 1 full hour, and for me, it totally flew by. It did not feel like an hour, like maybe 25 minutes.
I also fell asleep, and I was dying to know. I kept asking Priya, like, did you fall asleep? And we couldn't talk about it because we wanted to save this for you guys. Yeah. So the reason I kept asking was because I wanted my experience to be completely dark. I didn't know that I fell asleep until I, like, jerked open and opened my eyes, because it's so dark that your eyes closed and your eyes open are completely the same vision. It's the same thing.
Exactly. My eyes would be open and I thought they were closed. And when my eyes were closed, I was like, are they open? I can't tell.
Exactly.
I literally could not tell.
Yes, exactly.
It was definitely very cool.
And I also had the most vivid dreams.
You did?
Yeah, I cannot remember what they were, but I would like jerk awake and I would try to remember where I was.
Oh my gosh. See, the opposite happened to me where like I have vivid dreams literally every night or every other night when I'm sleeping, and when I was floating I had no dreams and it was so nice.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just like darkness and I was
like somebody just turned you off.
Yeah, basically. I was like, hello darkness my old friend. How's it go? Hello darkness my old friend. You know the song?
We're gonna get sued, so we're just gonna stop there.
Okay, yeah. Don't sue me, please. I was trying to promote that for you.
And I had like my mind was really busy for like I think the first half an hour. Mm-hmm. And I watched a really amazing horror movie lately. I'm really into scary movies. Raise your hand if you are. Email me. No, you're not, Priya.
What was your question?
If you're into horror movies.
I'm into them. I just won't watch them because I'm too scared. But I'm definitely into it.
That's the opposite of into it.
Well, I like true crime.
Like, I love chicken, but I won't eat it. That's what you sound like right now.
Well, I love dogs, but I won't eat them.
But, oh my god. False equivalencies. So yeah, I was thinking about this horror movie, and
oh my god, like, that must have been terrifying.
Yeah, like images from the movie would like go into my head, and then I was like, oh no, don't think about that. But then I just let myself think about it, and then you know in Harry Potter when like the Bogart, you remember that concept? I think that's what it's called. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's this like creature in Harry Potter that you can summon with a spell, and it makes someone's worst fear.
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah, worst fear like appear in front of them. Mm-hmm. And then what Neville Longbottom did is like his worst fear was his professor, Professor Snape, and then another professor just told him to like imagine Snape in his grandmother's clothes. So I kind of took the same route. Yeah. When like I imagine these really scary ghosts in like clown outfits and like dancing to Charleston.
Amazing.
So I was in the dark and I just faced my fear and I just like made them look really silly, and then I got to move on. Like I wasn't in fear while I was in there for an hour.
That's awesome that you like reframed it like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have been able to do that if it was dark. Also, I definitely hit the emergency button.
What emergency button?
So, okay, they didn't actually tell us there was an emergency button, but you know how so in the pod, on the left side was a green button.
Yeah.
And on the right side was a red button.
Yeah, I didn't know what that did. I kept pressing it, but nothing happened.
The red button?
What did it do?
You pressed the red button?
Yeah.
That was the emergency button.
For what?
For
what did
like
it do?
an emergency, like signals the front desk.
But nobody came.
I know! So... because they have like a little flotation device like around that button, because like if you wanted extra neck support or something. So I was like, oh, I could use extra neck support. So like I went to grab it and my hand like fully pressed the button. And then I was like, oh no, I am super naked right now, and I don't want anyone to open the pod.
Oh yes, we were naked in the pod, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can wear a swimsuit, but I wanted to be naked.
No, it was fucking glorious.
Yeah, it was.
And so like I was like really nervous that someone was gonna like barge into the room, and like I couldn't tell about the passage of time, so I kind of just like sat there in the dark for a couple of minutes, and I didn't hear anything, so I was like, okay, maybe I'm safe. Maybe I didn't hit it as hard as I did. And then later that day, I checked my voicemails, and they called me, and they were like, hey, we noticed that you hit the red button. We just want to make sure you were okay. And
nobody called me. They didn't care about me? Because I was trying to look for the light, and I thought the red button was the light.
Yeah, because that
or
was
like trying to turn off the light, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. But... I guess they just like me better, maybe?
That's plausible.
Plausible. You want to know something funny?
What?
Okay, so my butt is really like bootylicious. At least I think so.
Yeah.
And so there's only like a certain amount of water, so like you definitely can't drown.
No,
it's like, I don't know, like 8 inches or something.
Yeah, but it's so salinated that you just float. Yeah.
So I was floating, but my butt was still touching like the bottom, but it wasn't actually touching. It was just like grazing the bottom, because I was like floating, but my butt is so like round, I guess, is that it just kept grazing the bottom. So instead of being able to like have my hands up on my side, I had to like put them above my head,
just to balance it out.
Just to like balance it out, because that like lifted my pelvis up, and then I was floating. So that was kind of annoying. I was like, ugh, just an inch more. Come on, guys.
That's what she said. That is definitely what she said. She said it several times, and she's gonna keep saying it again.
Is that what's on her Tinder profile? Oh, man. But yeah, that was the only not awesome thing about the float for me. It was that I just like could not be comfortable because my butt is just too bootylicious.
Maybe there should be like a float under your butt.
I tried putting the float under my butt.
But
but it felt weird.
Yeah, it does feel weird.
It's like weird.
Yeah, I tried putting it under my neck, but it kind of took me out of the experience of like floating in space because it just takes you out of it.
Yeah, because
so I just took it off.
That is holding onto your body.
Yeah,
especially if you're like totally naked and glorious and bootylicious. Yes, the last thing you want is like a weird flotation device reminding you that you're not actually in space. Yes. Did you like the float? Would you do it again?
I would absolutely do it again. I could see myself doing it like every month. Yeah. Just as sort of like to disconnect or reconnect because you're trying to reconnect to something. And there's like a funny thing.
Aqua notes.
Yeah, there's a funny thing on the shower. They make you take a shower before you get in and after you get out so you can wash the salt off you. But they have this like aqua notepad that you can write in while you're in the shower. And some people like to come in there with an intention. So they write it down or like a prayer.
For their float, yeah.
Yeah.
And when the attendant?
The hostess?
Yeah. Okay. Whenever she... when she was telling us about it, she was like, I know it's kind of cheesy, but some people like to do that. And I was like, I could see myself doing that.
But I was in such a rush to get in the pod.
Yeah.
I was like, let's go, let's just do it, just do it.
Let's do it. Did you get in? Okay, so they played like 5 minutes of music when it started, and then 5 minutes of music to bring you out of it.
Yes.
Were you inside the pod before the music started?
Yes.
Oh, I was not.
Oh, okay.
I was like just finishing up, and I was about to get in, and the music started, and I was like, oh fuck! And then I had to like get in really, really fast.
You're like, the ship's gonna leave without me.
Yeah, but it's just a pod on porcelain tile, so it's not going anywhere.
I was like so excited and in such a rush to get in, so I think I was like, yeah. But I
was just like super psyched.
Yeah, I was super psyched.
That's so awesome. And like honestly, I didn't hear the music that well, and then
because the earplugs.
Earplugs.
Yes.
We don't know how to say these things. But the earplugs were like, basically the function was to seal your entire ear canal. So like when you were in the air, you couldn't hear any of the music or anything, but as soon as your ears went underwater, you could hear it so clearly.
Wow, I didn't try that. Because I wanted to be on top of the water.
Oh, no, I was like, my ears were both underwater, and as soon as they were under, I heard the music so clearly.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I heard it enough to like to know when to come out.
Okay.
And by the way, like I had this weird sensation since like after a while my body acclimated to being in the water. And if I didn't move, like my body almost tricked me into thinking that I was on something solid.
I know. Yeah. I got that sensation too.
Yeah, but you're it's like when you not lie down, but you sit down on a chair and eventually your butt gets numb, right? Because it's cutting off the circulation. But because you're in the water, like you can lie there for a longer period of time.
Yeah. And I know, I was like floating, and then I was like, my calves feel like they're touching the ground. Are they touching the ground?
But
and
I
moved them, and it was like 4, 5, 6 inches of water until I hit the ground, and I was like, whoa. Yeah. And that is so cool, dude.
It's actually really cool if you have any kind of like muscular tension, because if you breathe and you like let go of the tension physically in your body and you come with that intention, it just helps you loosen up physically.
Absolutely. And like I wasn't even trying to loosen up, and I loosened up. Like maybe 10 minutes into the float, my spine like started cracking and like getting longer.
Yeah.
Did that happen to you too?
I know what you mean, but like my wrists were like cracking too.
Yeah, like everything was just like
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was so awesome.
And then so the music plays to like cue you to get out. And then I remember I'm in the dark, so I push up the pod, and I just felt like I was so blissed out. I felt like an astronaut who landed on another planet. Like that Twilight Zone episode, like, where am I? Who am I? Who is with me?
Yeah, because you're
what language do I speak?
You're an alien emerging from the pod.
Yeah, and you're naked, so it's like Ripley and Alien.
Naked and glorious.
Yeah. I was telling Priya this, like, I want to take a selfie after, and like with the pod in the background just to be cool about it. And I was so blissed out, but I was present enough to be like, remember that you're naked, like, leave out the nipple.
No
like,
nipple.
Just crop it out.
No one needs to see that. Oh my gosh.
And we were just floating after. You said, like, I looked at you and it took me half a second to recognize you.
Yeah, it was, like, actually hilarious because I think that I snapped back to reality quite quickly after I got out of my float.
I did not.
You did not. It was so funny. You were just, like, kind of, like, dazed.
Yes.
But, like, in a peaceful way. And you just looked at me and then you were like, oh, hi. I was like, hi.
And even when we were out walking in the street, like heading to wherever we were heading, I just felt like I was seeing everything for the first time.
Like, babies. I remember we were sitting down and you were like, look how cute that baby is.
Babies are so small,
Yeah.
is what I said.
Oh, is that what you said?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, they are.
Like in the small, he had like a little Patagonia jacket on.
Oh, yeah, you're
like,
talking about how tiny his clothes are.
Yeah. And I'm like, where are you going? Like, what adventures are you going on that you need a Patagonia level jacket? Are you going mountaineering?
It was like a 2-year-old kid with a Patagonia jacket. He has a nicer jacket than I do. Oh my god. So you would definitely float again. Once a month. Like, that would be your thing.
Yeah, something like that. Or if I was like trying to solve a problem or had like a big question in my life, I would definitely go in the little pod and see what that would do for me. Because even if I don't solve the problem, I just would feel new, like reborn.
You know, maybe I will try floating again. I don't know that it did that much for me, but...
You definitely like the cryo better.
Oh, 100%. I am a cryo bitch. No, I'm just kidding. Don't quote me on that. But I really, really like cryotherapy. And I don't know, the floating was okay. And I would try it again if I was able to, like, set an intention before. Or, like, if I was working through a problem. Because I was thinking about things, but nothing really groundbreaking came of it. Or, like, I didn't experience anything more than, like, something cool. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's enough.
Yeah,
That's
it was
cool
a great
enough.
experience.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend both of those experiences to someone because, like, I love the cryo, you love the float, together we love both. Mm-hmm. But we wouldn't have known unless we tried everything.
And just shout out to Reboot Spa.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what I love about them is it's such a little detail, but they had contact lens solution. Mm-hmm. And that really helps because I got salt water in my eye.
Oh, me too. And they have, it's actually funny because, like, in the pod, on, like, one of the hooks inside the pod, there's, like, a freshwater, like, spray.
Yeah, but...
And a washcloth. And, like, halfway through, I was like, I can't see. I have so much salt in my eye.
I don't think that would have helped me because I was dark, so I would have just been groping.
Oh, I groped my way around the pod. And I finally found it. And I just, like, spritzed my face a million times. And then I went back to floating.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Aww.
But totally agree. Huge shout out to Reboot Spa. And everyone who helped us there, it was super fucking awesome. And they also have a couple other locations. I believe the other one's in the marina, and one of them is in someplace that starts with an R. I don't know.
Romania.
Romania. Yes, Romania. Oh my gosh, it was an amazing experience. And are you glad we did it?
I'm super glad we did it.
Ugh, me too. I really want to do cryotherapy, like, in my day-to-day. This is one of those things that we've tried that wasn't like a book or a regimen that I could totally see myself doing for literally the rest of my life.
Same.
Yeah? Oh my gosh. If you guys have any funny stories with, like, your cryotherapy experiences or floating experiences, you've got to let us know. You can email us at selfhelpuspodcast@gmail.com.
And remember to subscribe, rate, and review. It really helps us.
Yeah, and also just, like, you know, show us some love and all that good stuff. Okay, guys, we'll see you next week on the podcast.
Try your best to live your best life.
Take care, guys. Bye.